Wow, is this our last question? Okay, well, this is from Thomas. I heard you many times emphasize the benefits of the goblet squat. Can you explain why the front squat would not yield the same benefits as the goblet squat? Thomas, are you trying to say I either or something? Dude, I just got done front squatting. I love front squats, and I warmed up with goblet squats. Okay, the biggest benefit of the goblet squat is that it teaches most people how to squat deep. It teaches most people how to squat between their legs, not on their legs, that we're not on top of our legs, that we're slung between our legs, and those lessons. It's also wonderful that you can, every single day for the rest of your life, you can do the movement of squatting and get the full benefits of how it helps your architecture of your body. The downside of goblet squats is you kind of top out. Once you get over 40 kilos, 88 pounds, 90 pounds, you start, I've done 106 pound, 48 kilo goblet squats. But really, when you're in that range, you might as well just walk back over to the bar and start lifting. So what happens with the goblet squat is that there is a load issue. You do kind of run into a load problem down, fairly regular. But here's the thing. If you're my age and you're goblet squatting at 24 to 28 kilo for the kettlebell for 10 reps, honestly, you're doing great. You're doing just fine. If you're 30 years younger than me and you're doing the 24 for 10 reps, you're doing fine. You're doing great. I actually like the front squat more for my athletes. I got my athlete today. In fact, I just got a little text from her, and she's, doing really well in the front squat. The downside of the front squat is the downside of the overhead squat too. Now, you didn't say kettlebells or barbells, but let me talk about barbell problems and then kettlebell problems, okay? With the barbell, of course, today it was very cold in my gym. I'm getting ready for this Olympic lifting meet, so today was my first front squat workout in a while. It was freezing cold. It was so cold, I had to wear light gloves when I squatted, and I noticed that my wrist flexibility wasn't there yet. Well, in a couple of weeks it will be, but for a lot of people, driving the elbow forward, which opens up a ton of space in the body. It's a weird thing to say that. Most of us were taught when we do our front squats to drive the elbows up, but you'll find if you drive the elbows forward, you'll feel like you've opened some space in your body, and it even seems to help you squat deeper. I can't explain why. It's just something I picked up. When it comes to wrist flexibility, most people don't stretch their wrists. They stretch their fingers, and you'll see guys doing this all the time, and that's great. Now you have, more flexible fingers, but you still haven't bent your wrist at all. That's the position you got to get into. And of course, I have a very simple wrist flexibility drill. You put your pinky on your sternum, you grab your thumb, and then you just drive your fingers down to stretch this part of the wrist first. And then I get on the ground, and you might have seen it in some of my videos. When I 6-point rock, sometimes I'll turn my fingers back to my hands, and you try to grab the ground with your pinky and your thumb, and then you stretch it, this way, like you're doing a front squat. I like those a lot. Wrist flexibility is an issue. You can minimize a lot of that by just actually practicing. I'm not a fan. You see it online a lot. If you're going to front squat, why don't you do it right? Some people say, why don't you do it like that? And it's like, okay. But the problem is, if you're an elite athlete or you're my age, you never want to compromise mobility and flexibility to put more weight on the bar. I'd much rather you learn how to, get the elbow, shoulder, wrist, finger mobility, because if you do fall and you hit something weird, you'll have that little bit of extra range of motion that might just be the difference that keeps you from surgery or not. I love the barbell front squat. I think it's a genius move. It is the position we play sports in usually, unlike the back squat, which is not a position you get in very often in sports. So I'm a big fan. Now, when it comes to the double kettlebell front squat, which you didn't mention which one you're talking about, but I guarantee the question's going to pop right up after this. With the double kettlebell front squat, the only thing I would like you to do, and it really does attack your anaconda strength. It really does attack your internal pressure. But I always like the thumbs to be on the chest if you're going to do it this way. But I also don't mind you interlocking your fingers. Now, somebody said, well, that actually turns down the amount of tension in your upper, in here. And I thought, well, okay. But the nice thing about it is you get more reps, at least in my experience. I get more reps if I interlace my fingers. So the bells are sitting here, and I just have that kind of prayer hands position. Okay. I have no issues with doing this way. Some people say you should do it like this for certain reasons. I think that is very tough because the weights are just sliding down. So here, I like double kettlebell front squats. I like a lot for what it does for that internal pressure, that ability the goblet squat and the double kettlebell front squat and the front squat are all exercises I call moving planks. And when you're doing a moving plank, this area really has to stay locked and loaded, and your breathing has to be and I think there's some real value in not only making yourself a really strong platform, physical platform for lifting heavier loads, but I also think it makes you a little bit better out there in the field of play. And if you're going to pick up a couch and help a friend move it, you got to lock yourself down, especially when you're trying to get a couch around a split level home or an apartment complex. You'll learn all you ever need to know about weightlifting if you ever try to carry down a fold-out bed. It's a couch that turns into a bed. Carry it down a rickety flight of stairs, a fire escape. By the time you get to the bottom, you will learn everything you'll ever need to know about strength. I don't recommend it. Hire somebody.